All right, so let's take a look at the second game on Saturday. This is going to be the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. The big news here is Sean McVay says he's not going to let us know who is playing quarterback for the Rams ahead of time. So cool, we're only betting on this stuff. So thanks for that. We did have Jared Goff back at practice, according to some people who saw that part of practice. The quote unquote was spinning it good. So maybe it's Goff, maybe it's Wolford. They did get Cooper Kupp and Andrew Whitworth back at practice as well. Cam Akers was a full participant in practice as well. On the Seahawks side of the ball, starting defensive tackle Jaron Reed was practicing. That's good for them. And Jamal Adams says despite his shoulder injury, he is going to play. You are not keeping Jamal Adams out of this game, I imagine, after he had spent his career with the Jets. He finally gets a playoff game here. I imagine he's going no matter what. So, Brad, let me start with you. Quick thoughts on this one, how you think everything plays out.
Well, the key is Goff, isn't it? From what I can gather from the Twitter doctors, this sort of thing, it seems like they expect Goff to play. He wasn't practice throwing it about, but that puts me off the Rams, to be honest, because I think one thing we've seen in the market this year is when players who are questionable with some sort of injury, especially quarterbacks, when they're in, the market seems to be treating them as if they're 100%. Like Danny Dimes with his hamstring, it was treated as if it was a full go. Kyler Murray, when he had the shoulder, he wasn't running, but the first game or two, he was priced as if he was a full go. And that seems to be what's starting to come into this line now. It seems to be dropping down, from sort of +5 down to +3.5. I think on the presumption that Goff is going to go. But if he's got a he's had thumb surgery a week ago. Like I can't have any part of him. He's not a very good quarterback anyway. He can't run. Yeah. So if Goff goes, I would probably like the under, because I think it might tick up above 43, given if he's confirmed in, and I don't think he will be effective. And we've spoken and we've seen that the Rams defense matches up well with the Seahawks because they can get pressure on Russ up the middle. They play that sort of. They play 7 deep. They'll bracket DK Metcalf so he can't beat them deep. And then it's kind of Tyler Lockett trying to beat you. And he's been banged up and not that effective. So I don't think the Seahawks move the ball that effectively either. Now, if odds against chance that John Wolford plays, I reckon it might go to Rams +6 or something. And then I'll probably like the Rams again, especially Rams first half. Because, I do like the fact he can run around and make a few plays.
Brad kind of stole where I was going with this. I wanted to be on the Rams, and this was sitting at 4.5 a day ago, and it has now moved to 3 at DraftKings, 3.5 at FanDuel, 3.5 at PointsBet, but a flat 3 at DraftKings, and I guess that's based off of this news that Jared Goff is practicing. I don't think that's necessarily a great thing. Just like Brad, I wanted to be on the Rams here badly. I wanted to get 6. I was holding off because I thought we'd get to 6 on this thing, and I thought that we'd be able to get on the Rams at 6. Now it has gone completely the other way on us, and with that, it's kind of tough for me to come in on the Rams. If anything, is kind of swaying me towards maybe taking a deeper look at the Seahawks.
That's exactly my thoughts on the game too. You guys know I love my backup quarterbacks, especially one that's filling in for a QB who isn't close to 100% clearly and isn't all that efficient to begin with. I liked what I saw to John Wolford last week. Once he got settled in, I mean, he's a mobile quarterback, like Brad said. He opens up the offense for the Rams, and he gives McVay another mechanism in this offense. And I trust McVay to be able to scheme some offense with this guy. They were able to move the ball last week against the Cardinals. They just couldn't punch it in. So I think we'll see a little, if he does play, I think we'll see a little more efficiency in the red zone now that he's got some snaps under his belt. But I'm with you guys. I mean, if Goff goes, I mean, this is probably going to close short of 3. So, I mean, if you like Goff, maybe bet it now. If it's Wolford, I think we're going to see it well north of 3. It could get to 6, and I love it. I love the Rams if we can get them at +6 with Wolford. My position comes down to who starts in this game because I don't see that much of a difference between a banged up Jared Goff and John Wolford right now. So if Goff goes, I'm leaning Hawks at a short number. And if it's Wolford, I'm on the Rams. And that's how I'm going to play this.
I know. I hate that we have to sit here and give like all these quantifiers in this, but I mean, this is just the way it is. I mean, Brad, one of the other things about the Rams last week, they didn't have Cooper Kupp out there. So now Cooper Kupp would be at Wolford's exposure as well. So, I mean, like you have not only a guy that I think, look, for a first start and playing against a competent team. I mean, like didn't look horrible. And then now you get Cooper Kupp back, kind of a security blanket type guy, a chain mover type guy. But again, I can't back this Rams team at this number that it's even sitting right now. And certainly if this thing falls under 3, if we get a confirmation that it's going to be Jared Goff, I don't think I could keep myself off the Seahawks at that number because of Jared. I don't think Jared Goff is that much better than John Wolford. I don't think Jared Goff is that much better than any of the bottom tier quarterbacks in the NFL. And so, especially now you're going to tell me he's going to play a week after having a broken thumb. I mean, give me all the Seahawks, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you what bet. So if it got to a flat 3 and Goff is in there, I might be on the Seahawks. I think the best bet, if we get a +3 first half on the Rams with Wolford, that would be the bet for me. So it's all going to depend on Jared Goff, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it's crazy whenever we look at that, and that's how it is. I mean, sitting 4.5 a day ago, I was feeling so good because I'm like, oh, this is easily going to get to 6. Like I'm going to get 6 on this. This is going to be my play of the damn week or whatever, and then it moves an entire point and a half in the other direction. So that's pretty unfortunate when it comes down to it. Guys, are we concerned at all in this? We're saying we want to back the Hawks should this thing get under 3. Are we concerned at all that the Hawks have kind of reverted back to what we saw in the Hawks last season? Because when the early part of the year, when we were kind of like, oh, finally, we're like Russell Wilson was the overwhelming favorite to be MVP. He's throwing all the time. He's running around everywhere. They're putting up these big numbers. Then all of a sudden, Chris Carson gets healthy again. And then they've gone back to like, oh no, we have to use Chris Carson. Like he is the greatest running back that's ever walked the face of the earth. I mean, are we concerned about that? Even if it is Goff under center for the Hawks, even if it does get to a flat 3 or under 3?
I am concerned because they kind of it's kind of been reinforced, isn't it? Because they had all those bad results where the defense gave up 40 points, and Russ made a couple of mistakes, but and now I think they went 6-1 since they recommitted to the ground game. The defense got healthier. They got reinforcements in Carlos Dunlap as well. So they're sitting at home going, well, look, we started running the ball and we've won 6 out of the last 7. This is the way to do it. So yes, there is a chance they do fall flat. I'll tell you one thing I found interesting about Wilson's statistics. So since they made this switch, he's the 21st graded quarterback by PFF. The offense is middle of the pack as well. And actually what you saw early in the season was that even on third down, so they were throwing it a lot on first and second down, and they were getting huge chunks. He was very highly graded. On third down, he wasn't that good. When the defense knew he was going to pass, he still wasn't that highly graded. And now he's kind of that middle-of-the-road quarterback the entire time. So I just think, as currently constituted, I just don't think the Seahawks team is that good. And the defensive numbers as well, they have been puffed up by playing an absolute... like, what's the opposite of a murderer's row? Because that's what they faced at quarterback over the past 7 games. It's Colt McCoy and co, and that's why they look good.
And Brett, when we take a look at this as well, I mean, like the like Brad said, it's kind of they get this confirmation bias here that it's like, oh, we're winning because we're getting back to the run game, Chris Carson, this, that, and the other, but. It really is correlated to Jamal Adams getting back in the lineup and them actually getting some sort of pass rush, because they were one of the very worst pass rush teams in creating any sort of sacks, any sort of pressure, any sort of anything. And then Jamal Adams gets back in there. And as we know, he is not a coverage guy. That's just not what he does. He's in there to create havoc against passers and things. And that has been a real turn for this defense. And so, That does concern me, that I do expect, a healthy dose of Chris Carson in this game going up against this Rams defense that, as we know, one of the very best defenses on every single aspect of the game.
I don't understand what the Seahawks are doing. I mean, like, they weren't successful early in the year getting into those shootouts, but the offense was working. I mean, we're in 2020 where passing is everything, and they've just given up on it here. And yeah, they're winning football games, but look who they've beaten. And the defense got healthy, like you guys said. I mean, what happens? Just let Russ cook while the defense is playing as well as it has been the past several weeks. I don't understand that. And I'm with you with the Jamal Adams thing. That's huge, because this was a team that has gotten substantially better at getting pressure on the quarterback with Adams in there. I'm looking at the numbers here. Week 13, they ranked 20th in pressure rate, and now they're at 15th. I mean, that they've been getting to the quarterback, and a lot of that has to do with Adams. And if he's not in the game, I mean, what teams do we like to bet against Jared Goff? We like teams that get to him, get hands in his face. If the Seahawks can't get to him, then he's going to just sit back in the pocket and he's going to be fine. So there's a lot to this game. I honestly, I don't know what to do with it yet, because we don't know who's playing quarterback. Just a lot of uncertainty right now. But yeah, I still think if Goff goes, it's hard for me to back him, even if Jamal Adams is out.
Yeah, I think as we kind of put a bow on this one, I think we're all under the consensus we'd prefer to play the Rams if it's Walford, because we're going to get a better number. We're going to get a bigger number. And with that defense and with the way that the Seahawks have been playing, them covering a big-ish number is, I don't think very likely, in this scenario. But it might get to a point where they force our hand to play the Seahawks if this number continues to run, because of the Jared Goff factor being in there. So hate that we can't give definitives on this, but there's no definitive to get. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for this team, and whenever we find out that information, or when you find out that information, hopefully we gave you the path that we're going to be looking at as far as betting this one whenever it comes back around.